Aria Kaur had always believed life followed a pattern: school, college, a quiet career, and maybe a life she could control. But tonight, all of that fell apart. The house she had reluctantly entered smelled faintly of sandalwood and expensive perfume. Her suitcase sat by the door, still unopened, a silent reminder of the life she had abandoned for her family's wishes. Across the room, a man sat in a high-backed chair, almost blending into the shadows. He didn't look like her husband should, at least not the man her parents had described. No charm, no warmth, just an unreadable face, sharp eyes, and a presence that made the air in the room feel heavier. "Aria," he said finally, voice low, precise, and strangely calm. "I assume you're aware why we're here." She swallowed, throat dry. "Yes, but I mean, we barely know each other." He tilted his head, faint amusement flickering across his face. "That's the point. You don't know me. And tonight that will change, whether you like it or not." Aria's pulse quickened. The arranged marriage had always seemed like a formality, a chapter in her parents' story, not hers. Yet now, the man she was expected to spend her life with stood before her, not as a stranger she could ignore, but as someone who might be her only anchor in a storm she didn't yet understand. Her eyes darted around the room, searching for an escape. There was none, only him. Only the quiet weight of his stare and the faint hint of danger or protection she couldn't yet place. "Why are you so calm?" she asked, forcing her voice steady. "Because," he replied, standing slowly, shadows tracing the lines of his face, "I know what's coming, and I want to make sure you survive it." Survive it? The words hung between them like a storm cloud, forewarning of nights she hadn't even imagined yet. And in that moment, Aria realized that this marriage, forced, arranged, and unwanted, was about to become something far more dangerous and far more necessary. Because in this house, in this night, strangers weren't just strangers, and allies weren't given, they were earned. The moonlight slanted through the large bay window, brushing Aria's face with silver, highlighting the uncertainty in her wide, dark eyes. The man in the chair, her arranged husband, Arjun Mehra, watched her carefully, the faint crease of concentration at his brow giving nothing away. "I don't understand," Aria said, her voice trembling, "how you can be so calm. Do you even care that I didn't choose this? That I barely know you?" Arjun's expression softened just slightly, but his eyes remained sharp, calculating. "I care more than you think, but you don't know the world we live in. You don't know what's waiting outside these walls." "What do you mean?" Her heart skipped a beat. He leaned forward, elbows resting on his knees, voice dropping to a whisper that seemed to wrap around her like a cloak. "There are people, dangerous people, who won't respect the laws of marriage, family, or even life itself. You were brought into this world for reasons far beyond tradition or ceremony, and tonight, they might come for you." Aria blinked, confused and terrified. "Come for me? Who would? Why?" Arjun's eyes flicked toward the door, then back to her. "Because you carry something they need, something your family doesn't even realize exists, something that makes you valuable." She swallowed, nausea rising. "Valuable? I'm just me." "You're not," he said firmly. "You're far more than that, and I won't let anyone take that from you. But I can't protect you if you don't trust me, and right now I'm all you have." Aria's mind spun. All this time she had believed her life was simple, predictable, safe. But now every detail, the whispers at family gatherings, the secretive phone calls, the way her parents had insisted she obey without question, made sense in a way she hadn't wanted. She stepped back instinctively, bumping into the heavy wooden table that separated them. Papers rustled. A crystal vase teetered dangerously, but Arjun caught it mid-fall, setting it down without a word. His reflexes were precise, measured, something honed by training, not casual living. "Who are you?" she demanded. "I don't mean your name, I mean, why do you move like this, speak like this, know things you should?" Arjun leaned back, hands steepled. "I was never just your husband, Aria. I was assigned, entrusted to keep you alive." The words hit her like a thunderclap. "Alive? You mean my life is in danger?" "Yes." He didn't flinch, didn't waver. His calmness was almost terrifying. "From the moment you were born, there were people who wanted to use you. Your family didn't know. They thought it was just tradition, but they were wrong. And I've been watching, waiting for the right time to intervene. That time is now." Aria felt her knees weaken. "Watching me? Waiting? What are you saying? That my whole life, everything, was being planned by someone else? Arjun's gaze softened almost imperceptibly. Not planned, protected. But yes, it's more complicated than you can imagine. And tonight you need to choose. You can cling to the life you thought you had, or you can trust me and survive what's coming. Her mind raced. Every instinct screamed to flee, to hide, to scream at her parents for thrusting her into a marriage that felt like a cage. But there was something undeniable in his presence. A magnetism, a strength, a promise she couldn't ignore. I don't know if I can trust you, she admitted, voice barely audible. Arjun stood, moving closer, the shadows playing across his face like fragments of a hidden truth. You don't have to trust me yet, but you will trust yourself tonight. You'll need to. Because once we step outside, there's no turning back. And anyone who tries to hurt you, I won't forgive. Not now. Not ever. The air thickened. Outside, a branch scraped against the window. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barked. But inside, the room felt suspended in time. Aria and Arjun, strangers yet bound by a threat she didn't fully understand. And in that moment, she realized this arranged marriage, this night, was the beginning of a story far bigger than either of them. A story of danger, of secrets, of choices that would decide not only her fate, but the man who had sworn to protect her. Aria swallowed hard, her hand trembling. I'll try. I'll follow your lead. Arjun nodded once sharply. Good, then we begin. Outside, the wind howled through the trees. And in the quiet house, two strangers prepared for a night neither would ever forget. And tonight, she would learn exactly who he was. The wind rattled the window panes as Aria perched on the edge of the bed, suitcase untouched. Every shadow in the room felt alive, every creak of the old house a whisper of warning. Arjun moved silently across the room, checking locks, windows, and the heavy door. His movements were precise, deliberate, an almost mechanical perfection born from years of unseen training. You move like you've done this before, Aria said softly, her voice trembling. Like you've fought before. Arjun paused, gaze sharp, studying her. I have, more times than I care to count, and tonight I fear will add another to the list. Her heart skipped. Another. Someone is coming for you. Soon, he said, crouching to inspect the security system. And they won't hesitate. They don't negotiate. They don't ask. They take what they want or destroy what stands in their way. Aria swallowed hard, the weight of his words settling like a stone in her chest. She thought of her parents, the arranged marriage, the life she had believed in. All of it suddenly felt fragile, meaningless against the threat looming over her. The clock ticked loudly, then a faint knock at the door. Aria froze. Arjun's eyes narrowed. Stay back. The knock came again, louder, more insistent. Arjun moved toward the door, hand on the handle. Do not open it, he warned. No matter what you hear. Aria nodded, clutching the bedsheet, her pulse a frantic drumbeat. He opened the door a crack. A shadowed figure slipped into the hallway, fast, silent, trained. Arjun's body moved like lightning, intercepting the intruder before they could even react. A struggle, sharp and brutal, echoed down the hall. Aria's stomach twisted as she realized this wasn't a break-in for robbery or intimidation. It was a calculated strike, aimed specifically at her. The intruder hissed and twisted free, darting toward her room. But Arjun was faster. His hands gripped their shoulders, flipping them against the wall with a precision that was terrifying in its efficiency. Aria's eyes widened. Who are they? Hunters, he said grimly. People trained to find and eliminate what they're told to. And tonight, you are the target. Her breath caught in her throat. Target me, but why? I'm just me. Arjun's gaze softened slightly, but his tone was steel. You are far from just you. There is something in you, something your family hid, something they thought would keep you safe. But others have discovered it, and they will stop at nothing. Aria's mind raced, terror mingling with a spark of defiance. Then I won't run. I'll face it with you. Arjun's eyes met hers. Good, because tonight running isn't an option, survival is. A loud crash came from downstairs, a signal that more had arrived. He moved to the center of the room, stance protective. Stay behind me. Watch and learn. You'll need to act, to fight, if you want to live through this. Aria's pulse surged, fear igniting into determination. This was no longer about a forced marriage or obedience to her family. This was about life and death, trust and instinct. And in that moment, she understood something vital. The man who had been a stranger hours ago was now her only ally. The first night of terror had begun, and outside, unseen eyes watched, waiting for them to falter. The house felt alive with menace. Shadows stretched along the walls, cast by flickering lights and the occasional flash of lightning outside. Aria's heart pounded in her chest as she watched Arjun move through the room like a predator, calm, controlled, yet impossibly fast. "You need to be ready," he said, voice low and urgent, glancing at her. "I can protect you for now, but there will come a moment when you have to act. Do you understand?" Aria nodded, hands trembling. I think so, but I don't know how." He crouched beside her, his dark eyes locking onto hers. "Then you learn, fast. Survival isn't about strength. It's about awareness, timing, and making choices you can't regret." He demonstrated a simple defensive move, showing her how to block and redirect, his body fluid and precise. "Focus. Don't panic. The moment fear controls you, you lose." Aria mirrored his movements, her limbs stiff, clumsy, yet determined. She felt every mistake, every hesitation, but she also felt something growing, resolve, a spark of courage she didn't know she had. "Better," Arjun said, approving but calm. "Keep your eyes on me. Watch, anticipate, move before they do." Suddenly, the sound of shattering glass came from the front of the house, a signal that the intruders were escalating. "They're testing us," Arjun muttered. "Time to see if you can follow instructions under pressure." Aria's pulse spiked. Fear surged, but this time she clenched her fists instead of running. Adrenaline sharpened her senses. She saw shadows move, fast, calculated, approaching from the main hall. "Now," Arjun barked. Aria ducked behind a sofa as he intercepted an intruder, flipping them aside with precise force. She followed his movements, shoving a chair into the path of another, buying them seconds. Her hands shook, but she didn't falter. Each action, each instinctive move felt like a lifeline. After the intruders retreated temporarily, Arjun exhaled sharply, his chest heaving slightly. He turned to her, expression unreadable. "Not bad for a first night. You've got instincts. That's half the battle, but don't let pride fool you. You're still unprepared for what's coming." Aria's voice was steady now, determination woven through her fear. "I'll be ready. I want to be ready. I won't be a victim anymore." He studied her, a rare flicker of admiration softening his normally sharp gaze. "Good. Because the people after you, they're patient and they're relentless. And they won't stop until they get what they want. But so will we, together." For the first time, Aria felt something she hadn't before, a dangerous, exhilarating sense of empowerment. She was no longer just a bride caught in a tradition she didn't choose. She was a fighter, learning the rules of a game she hadn't even known existed. And Arjun, her husband, her protector, her mysterious ally, was the only guide through it. Outside, the storm continued to rage, wind howling through the trees. But inside, a new storm was forming, one of skill, courage, and the beginning of a bond forged in fire. The night had deepened, black and suffocating. Rain pounded against the roof, tapping like a relentless drumbeat of warning. Aria crouched behind the staircase railing, her hands trembling, pulse racing, but not with fear alone. Determination burned through her veins. "Arjun, they're everywhere," she whispered. He didn't flinch. He checked the windows one by one, his movements precise, deliberate, almost surgical. "Stay close. Watch, learn, and act when I signal. You can do this, Aria, trust yourself." A sudden crash from the kitchen sent shards of glass skittering across the floor. Aria's stomach lurched. Then another, this time the sound of boots, rapid, trained, calculating. "They're inside," Arjun said, voice calm but sharp as steel. "And this time they won't retreat." He grabbed her hand and pulled her behind him. "Remember what I taught you. Instinct, observation, timing." The intruders came in waves, masked, armed, moving like shadows with deadly precision. Arjun intercepted the first, disarming him with a single fluid motion. Aria watched, memorizing every move, every feint, every step. Then it was her turn. A man lunged at her from the stairs. Her hands shot up instinctively, blocking his swing. Heart hammering, she twisted her body, using her own momentum to push him off balance. He stumbled, giving her the opportunity to kick him hard, sending him crashing into the wall. Arjun's eyes flicked to her, approval barely restrained. "Good, keep moving, don't hesitate." The chaos intensified. Rain lashed at the windows, lightning illuminated the scene in stark flashes. Every corner of the house was a battleground. Aria moved, fought, blocked, and improvised. Fear was still there, but it was tempered by adrenaline and purpose. During a brief pause, Arjun grabbed her by the shoulders, his dark gaze locking onto hers. "You're stronger than you think, but strength isn't enough. You need to understand the game. Your family, your life, it's all more dangerous than you imagined." Aria, breath ragged, nodded. "Then tell me everything. I need to understand." He exhaled, a flicker of vulnerability crossing his otherwise stoic face. "When I was younger, I was trained by an organization specialized in protection and intelligence. Your life was never just about marriage, it was about survival. My role was assigned years ago. Your enemies, they've waited patiently for this night. And now, it's here." A crash from the living room brought them back to the present. The attackers had regrouped. Arjun grabbed her hand again. No time for fear, only action. Together, they moved through the house like shadows, two halves of a single, unstoppable force. Aria blocked a blow, disarmed another intruder, and realized that for the first time in her life, she was fighting for herself, not out of obligation. By the time the intruders finally retreated, bloodied, frustrated, and wary, Aria and Arjun stood in the wrecked living room, rain dripping in through broken windows. Aria's chest heaved, sweat and blood mingled on her hands. She looked at him, realization dawning. I did it. I actually did it." Arjun's lips curved in a faint, approving smile. "Yes, and tonight you began to step into your own power, but this is only the beginning. Your enemies, they won't stop. They never do. But now you're no longer just a bride, you're a fighter." Aria wiped her face, determination blazing in her eyes. "Then I'll keep fighting with you, always." And as the storm outside began to ebb inside the house, a new alliance born from danger, necessity, and trust had solidified. Together they had survived the first siege, but both knew the next attack would be even deadlier. Dawn had barely broken when Aria woke to the distant echo of sirens, silent reminders that danger hadn't vanished overnight. She felt the ache of her muscles, the sting of bruises forming along her arms and legs, yet something inside her surged. Purpose. Arjun was already awake, meticulously checking maps, surveillance footage, and the arsenal he'd prepared for them. He glanced at her, dark eyes sharp yet softer than she'd ever seen. "You slept." "I tried," she muttered, rubbing her sore shoulder. "I keep thinking about last night, about everything." He nodded, stepping closer. "Good. Reflection is important, but action is what keeps you alive. Today we go outside these walls. You're going to learn what it truly means to protect yourself and to trust your instincts." Her stomach tightened. The idea of leaving the safety of the house, already battered from the siege, felt like stepping into a storm, but she knew she had no choice. "I'm ready," she said, voice steady despite the tremor in her chest. They moved like ghosts through the city streets, blending into shadows, skirts of raincoats fluttering, the hum of traffic and early commuters a distant backdrop. Arjun led her to a nondescript black SUV, loaded with gear she barely recognized. "Where are we going?" she asked, heart racing. "Somewhere your family, or rather your enemies, thought you'd be safe. Somewhere they never expected us to intervene," he replied. His tone was calm, but she caught the sharp edge beneath it, vigilance honed by years of danger. Inside the vehicle, he handed her a small earpiece. "You'll hear me. Follow instructions. Don't make assumptions. And don't underestimate yourself. You surprised me last night, Aria. Tonight you might save lives, including your own." Her fingers tightened around the device. "I won't let anyone hurt us, or me again." They arrived at an abandoned warehouse, its silhouette jagged against the rising sun. Inside, shadows danced across stacked crates and rusted machinery. Aria's pulse thumped in her ears. "First lesson," Arjun whispered, crouching behind a pillar. "Observation. Every corner could hide a threat. Every noise a warning. Trust your senses." A sudden movement near a crate. Aria's hand shot out instinctively, gripping a metal pipe Arjun had handed her. She swung, connecting with a figure trying to sneak past. The impact staggered the intruder, giving Arjun time to subdue him. Her chest heaved, adrenaline crackling through her veins. "I did that." "You did," Arjun said, voice almost proud. "And you'll do more. But remember, instincts are one thing, strategy is another. Understand the patterns. Think 2 steps ahead. That's how you survive against people like them. As they moved deeper into the warehouse, Aria's eyes caught something unexpected. Documents, photographs, and folders clearly detailing her family's history, secrets, and connections. Her breath caught. Arjun, these are about me, about my family. They've been tracking us. He nodded gravely. More than tracking, they've been planning. Your life has never been ordinary, Aria. Your parents, they tried to protect you, but some truths can't be hidden forever. And now, you need to confront them before they confront you. Her stomach turned. I thought my life was just normal. An arranged marriage, family expectations, school. I never imagined any of this. Arjun stepped closer, dark eyes meeting hers. You're far from ordinary, and you never were. But here's the thing. Ordinary people survive by avoiding danger. Extraordinary people survive by mastering it. And I'll teach you step by step how to be extraordinary. The tension escalated as the sound of approaching footsteps echoed through the warehouse. Aria's heart raced. She crouched beside Arjun, gripping her weapon, ready to act. This is your moment, he whispered. Make it count, not just for survival but for yourself. And as the shadows closed in, Aria realized she was no longer a passive bride or a frightened girl. She was a fighter, a protector. And the first lines of her own story were being written in real time. The warehouse air was thick, stale, and heavy with anticipation. Shadows clung to the corners, and the low hum of distant traffic echoed like a heartbeat. Aria crouched behind a stack of crates, pulse hammering, eyes scanning every flicker of movement. Remember what I taught you, Arjun whispered, voice taut with controlled urgency. Observation first, react second, anticipate their patterns, you lead when I say. Aria nodded, gripping the metal pipe like a lifeline. The adrenaline that had once made her tremble now sharpened her senses, heightening every sound. The creak of a floorboard, the whisper of fabric against concrete, the hiss of a sliding door. Suddenly, the shadows shifted, masked figures emerging from the dark corners, fast, methodical, deadly. Now, Arjun commanded. Aria sprung into action. She vaulted over a crate, using the element of surprise to knock one attacker off balance. Her pulse roared in her ears as she followed through, striking with precision she didn't know she had. Impressive, Arjun murmured, taking down another intruder with swift, brutal efficiency. Keep your head. Don't let fear control you. They moved as a unit, 2 halves of a single lethal force. Aria directed one attacker into a narrow aisle, forcing him to stumble over fallen crates. She ducked a swinging baton and jabbed upward, her instincts guiding her body moving with newfound confidence. A sudden flash of light caught her eye. Documents from the warehouse, scattered on the floor, revealing confidential files about her family, her life, and a network of enemies she had never known existed. Her chest tightened. Arjun, these files, they know everything, she whispered, voice tight with fear and disbelief. Yes, he said grimly, covering her as she absorbed the information. Your life has been a chessboard, Aria, and tonight we've reached the first check. But the game isn't over. They're testing us, probing weaknesses. You must be ready to counter, not just react. Her hands clenched around the pipe. Then I won't let them win. Not tonight, not ever. The attackers regrouped, more coordinated, moving in from multiple entrances. Aria's breath hitched, but she forced herself to stay calm, scanning exits, calculating paths, predicting movements. She shouted to Arjun, left side, 2 coming from the south exit. He pivoted, neutralizing the threat, while she led another attacker into a trap, a toppled crate acting as a barrier. The warehouse became a blur of motion, metal clashing against metal, bodies colliding, adrenaline and fear colliding in a dance of survival. Finally, a brief pause. The attackers had retreated, wary and bloodied. Aria's chest heaved. Sweat mixed with rain that had seeped in through broken windows. Her hands were bruised, trembling, but victorious. Arjun stepped to her side, dark eyes meeting hers. You led that, you made the calls. That's more than instinct, that's control, that's leadership. And tonight, you earned it. Aria's chest swelled with a mix of exhaustion and pride. I did it. I actually did it. He placed a firm hand on her shoulder. Yes, and remember this feeling, because the next threat will be bigger, smarter, and they won't hesitate, but now you've seen your strength. You know what you can do, and together we're unstoppable." Outside, the city stirred awake, unaware of the battle that had raged within the shadows. Inside, Aria and Arjun stood united, not as a bride and husband, but as partners in a war she had only just begun to understand. The warehouse lay quiet, a deceptive calm settling over the wreckage. Rain dripped from broken windows, echoing softly against crates and concrete. Aria knelt beside the scattered documents, her hands trembling, eyes scanning pages filled with revelations she wasn't prepared for. "Arjun, these files, my family," she stammered. "They're not just ordinary people. They've been involved with them." He nodded, his expression grim. "Not your parents personally, but your family has long been a part of a network that certain powerful people covet. You've been under protection since birth. That protection wasn't just to shield you from accidents or illness. It was to keep you alive from people who would exploit you." Her mind reeled. "Exploit me for what?" He crouched beside her, voice low, intense. "You carry information, genetics, potential, something your enemies think could shift power. And now, they've realized the time to act is now. That's why tonight escalated so quickly." Aria's stomach churned. The life she had thought she knew, ordinary school, family, arranged marriage, was a lie. Every whispered phone call, every cryptic warning from her parents, every insistence to obey tradition had been a cover for survival. "Arjun, why didn't anyone tell me?" Her voice cracked. "Why did I have to find out like this?" He reached for her hand, a rare softness in his dark gaze. "Because the truth is dangerous. Knowing too much could have put you in jeopardy long before tonight. You were always protected from the world. But now you're ready. You have to be. And that's why I'm here." Her heart ached, a mixture of fear and gratitude. "And us, what we've built, this partnership, is it real or just survival?" His lips curved slightly, fleetingly, but his eyes remained steady, serious. "It's both. Survival brought us together, but trust and loyalty will keep us together. You've already proven yourself tonight, and that proof will matter in the days ahead." Suddenly, a notification blinked on a small device Arjun carried, a live feed from a hidden camera outside. Their temporary calm shattered. Figures approached the warehouse perimeter, moving like shadows, faster and more organized than before. "They're back," Arjun murmured, "and they've brought reinforcements. This time it's not just scouts, it's a coordinated strike." Adrenaline surged in Aria's veins. She looked at him, eyes burning with determination. "Then we stop them together. No hesitation." He nodded. "Exactly. Observation, coordination, and instinct. You've learned fast. Now it's time to apply it fully." This is the moment where preparation meets reality. The warehouse doors rattled. Shadows danced against the walls, their movements deliberate, deadly. Aria gripped her weapon tightly, every nerve alive. "Remember," Arjun whispered, "trust yourself and trust me. We survive as one, no mistakes." Aria squared her shoulders, adrenaline and fear fused into courage. "We fight, and we win, together." Outside, the city remained unaware of the storm about to descend. Inside, two allies, no longer strangers but bound by danger, trust, and something deeper, prepared for a confrontation that would change everything. The first strike of the second battle was imminent, and this time there would be no turning back. The night had fallen hard, thick clouds blotting out the moon. Rain had turned into a steady downpour, soaking the warehouse and the surrounding lot. Aria crouched behind a rusted shipping container, adrenaline and purpose pumping through her veins. "Remember your training," Arjun murmured beside her, voice low but firm. "Observation, anticipation, and action. You lead when necessary. I'll cover the rest." Her eyes darted across the lot, shadowy figures moving with precision, flanking the perimeter, clearly expecting them to hesitate. But hesitation was a luxury Aria no longer had. The first wave of attackers surged, moving from multiple angles. Aria's hands were steady on her weapon, every movement calculated. She shouted directions. "Two from the east, Arjun north exit." He moved seamlessly, neutralizing threats while she dispatched another with a swift strike, her instincts guiding her. Her confidence had grown. She was no longer just following, she was taking charge. Then came the revelation that stopped her cold. Amid the attackers, one figure stepped forward, a woman, familiar and chillingly calm. Arya's eyes widened as the mask came off. "Mother," Arya whispered, disbelief and betrayal colliding. Her mother's gaze was cold, unflinching. "Arya, it's not personal, it's survival. You were never supposed to be in the middle of this. But now you are." Arya staggered backward, shock and fury flashing across her face. "All these years, the warnings, the secrecy. You let them train me, put me in danger for what?" Her mother's lips pressed into a tight line. "To protect the greater legacy. Our family, it holds secrets powerful enough to shift everything. And now you've proven yourself capable, or you would have died tonight." Arjun stepped forward, placing a protective arm around Arya. "You won't touch her. Not tonight." The standoff was electric, rain splattering, shadows moving, and the sound of distant sirens adding tension. Arya clenched her fists, heart racing. "I decide my fight. Not you, not them. I'm done being a pawn." Her mother's eyes softened just for a moment, a flicker of conflict crossing her face. But the attackers behind her surged again. Arya turned, her tactical mind snapping into action. "North corridor now," she commanded. "Trap them by the crates, use the shadows." The clash erupted, metal against metal, swift moves, precise strikes. Arya led with strategy, directing Arjun and using the environment to their advantage. Each movement, each decision was now her own. In the chaos, a hidden envelope fell from one of the attackers' packs. Arya grabbed it, hands shaking, opening it to reveal documents exposing a larger conspiracy, alliances, betrayals, and powerful enemies beyond her imagination. "This isn't just my family," she muttered, realization dawning. "It's the world they're part of, and now I'm part of it too." Arjun nodded, voice low and intense. "Exactly. And tonight proved one thing: you're ready. Not just to survive, but to lead." Her mother stepped closer, gaze piercing. "Arya, I was wrong to hide the truth. But now I trust you to finish what we started. Protect our legacy, protect yourself." Arya exhaled, adrenaline and fury giving way to resolve. "I will. But from now on I fight my battles, my way." Outside, the rain had slowed, leaving the city streets slick and reflective. Inside the warehouse, a new alliance, born of danger, trust, and hard-earned courage, stood stronger than ever. Arya was no longer just a bride or a pawn. She was a fighter, a leader, and a force her enemies would soon learn to respect. But the documents she held whispered of even greater threats, deeper conspiracies, and choices that could change everything. And Arya knew one thing for certain: there would be no turning back. Dawn was bleeding through the clouds, streaking the warehouse with pale gold. The rain had stopped, leaving the streets slick and reflective, mirrors to a night of chaos that had changed everything. Arya stood tall, the envelope of secrets clutched tightly in her hands, muscles tense, senses alert. "Are you ready?" Arjun asked, his voice low, steady, carrying the weight of unspoken history. Arya nodded, eyes sharp. "I'm done hiding, I'm done following. Tonight I finish this." The final wave approached, heavier, more coordinated, and with a figure leading them that sent a chill through Arya's spine. From the shadows emerged a man she had only glimpsed in photographs. Her father's former confidant, a man of ruthless reputation, the architect of many of the schemes her mother had only hinted at. "So this is the young heir of the daughter," he sneered, eyes locking on Arya. "Your family built you for this, but you're only a pawn." Arya's grip on the envelope tightened. "No, I'm no one's pawn, I'm me, and I decide the game now." The fight erupted with ferocity. Aria and Arjun moved as a single force, her newly honed instincts, his deadly precision. Each strike, each maneuver was measured, ruthless, and elegant. Aria disarmed attackers with a confidence that shocked even her, directing Arjun to cover blind spots, anticipating moves before they happened. Her mother appeared at the periphery, flanked by her loyalists, eyes flickering with worry and pride. "Arya, you've become everything I feared and hoped you would be," she murmured. Amid the chaos, Arya realized the true scale of the conspiracy. The documents revealed alliances that stretched across industries, governments, and criminal networks. Her family had been a shield and a key, both a target and a trap. And the man before her, her father's confidant, intended to seize control entirely. "Enough," Arya shouted, voice ringing over the clash of bodies and rain-slick concrete. "This ends now." Using strategy, knowledge from the documents, and quick thinking, she orchestrated a counterattack that forced the enemy into a bottleneck. Traps, misdirection and her leadership turned the tide. Arjun, moving like a shadow incarnate, neutralized threats while Aria coordinated escape routes and countermaneuvers. In a final confrontation, she faced the man directly. He sneered, but Aria's resolve burned brighter than his arrogance. "You underestimated me," she said. "I've learned, I've survived, and now I lead." A swift, precise move, part instinct, part skill, part fury, left him disarmed and defeated. Her mother stepped forward, her expression unreadable. "You've surpassed me," she said quietly. "You're the guardian of our legacy now, not because of blood, but because of courage and choice." Aria exhaled, muscles trembling but resolve unshaken. She looked at Arjun, who gave a small, approving nod. "Together," he said. Aria nodded. "Together." The warehouse lay in wreckage, a battlefield of rain-slicked concrete and shattered illusions. But a new order had emerged. Aria was no longer a girl caught in tradition, a pawn in secret wars, or a bride thrust into circumstance. She was a leader, a fighter, and a protector of the legacy she chose to uphold. And as the first true light of dawn broke through the clouds, she understood that survival was only the beginning. The real journey, power, trust, and choice, was just beginning. If you enjoyed Aria's journey and want to see what happens next, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss the adventure.